So we've arrived at Dachau. Probably the least looked forward to part of our trip, but it's also one of the most necessary, I believe, to see this. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the cemeteries and such were moving experiences. Visiting the memorials were quite moving, and this one, I'm afraid, is going to be gut-wrenching. So I'll let you know. The gate that the prisoners came into, it says Arbeit macht frei, which means work makes freedom. And this is the compound that they saw as they entered the gate. Guardhouse up top. Hello. Just out here in Munich, just outside of where we are staying, and I just wanted to discuss tonight, you know, it's nice and quiet here. We're kind of out in the country. It's beautiful. But I wanted to discuss our trip to Dachau today. Dachau is probably for the, just to try not to ramble here, but there's so much. Dachau is a concentration camp from 1933 was when it started, when it was opened. It was opened when Hitler took power. Mostly at the beginning it was a place for political prisoners. Many of the opponents of Hitler and the Nazis were interred there and tortured and died there. And yet we visited there today, and it was also a place where there were political prisoners, there were people who didn't fit the mold for the Nazi and SS ideals, namely the Jews, homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, Christians who did not agree with Hitler and his ideals or his views. And so we were there, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't sure how to deal, what I was going to be dealing with. And even now, I'm still, you know, it was one of the most difficult kind of things to deal with, because you saw all these things, all these terrible things that these people had gone through, and the perpetrators. You saw the pictures of the people who suffered. You saw the pictures of the people who perpetrated these deeds. And yet, you know, you'd be reviled. There'd be things that they would do that would just grab you, and you would think, how could they do this? How could they be like this? How could they possibly do this to another human? And in that, there was this internal struggle. There's this internal struggle. It was how do I connect with this? How do I make sense of all this? I found myself looking into the eyes of the pictures of the people who were interred there, and I tried to see something in them that, you know, you try to understand what they were going through. And I would look at find myself looking at the eyes of the people who were in charge, the people who purposely killed people, purposely horribly tortured people and mutilated, and all of these things, stripped every human dignity from these people. And as you couldn't connect. I couldn't connect. As much as I tried, I couldn't connect to this, because obviously I've never had to experience anything like this. I've never had to experience any discomfort as far as that goes like that. I've lived a blessed life, a life of great blessing. I have a family. We're all together. We're close. I'm here with my son. We're enjoying our vacation here in Germany and France. But that was the internal struggle. That was the struggle, that how do I connect with these people? How do I connect? It's mind-boggling how people who look like normal people, normal everyday citizens, could perpetrate these deeds. People who look like normal everyday citizens could be treated like this, could be packed and carted off as corpses to the crematoriums where they just, thousands and thousands of people died. Dachau was the first concentration camp in Germany. It ran through the entire run of the Nazi reign. It was the longest running concentration camp. It was also the model for all the other concentration camps. The leadership of Dachau were the ones who put the model for every other concentration camp throughout Europe. Auschwitz, which was far beyond what Dachau was, because Dachau they built a gas chamber and they never actually used it. All they used was, they had the firing squads, they had the torture, and they had the terrible medical experiments, and they had things that were subhuman. They just treated people like subhumans. And yet, that was the least of what was going on. And so I find that the biggest struggle for me was, how do you connect to that? I saw people of all races, nationalities going through there. Asian, white people, German people, Europeans from all countries, North Americans. I saw school kids on school tours going through there. And as I was looking at the faces of the people who were going through there, I couldn't help but try to look into their eyes to see what they were seeing, to see what they were feeling. And honestly, I don't think they connected. I don't think they, it's like you see it, you see the horror, you're appalled by it, but it doesn't register. Because none of us have gone through that. None of us have had to deal with that. There were Islamic people there. There was everybody there. And I don't think people really connected to it. And that is the part that really is eating at me. Because I don't think this is a one-off. I don't think this is something that is never going to happen. We saw and see in smaller scales. We see in Congo. We see the things that happen with Rwanda. We see the things that happened with Pol Pot in Cambodia, and those are things that were just as terrible. Also, genocide and slaughter of people. And I'm afraid I don't think we're going to get it. As much as that memorial is there, and as much as the young people go there and they try to deal with things, or try to remember the atrocities, try to remember the things that happened, and try to stop it, we don't get it. We just don't get it. We're seeing our world today. The propaganda machine of the Nazis was phenomenal. They had all these things going where they'd invite the foreign press to Dachau. Dachau was a nice prison. Dachau was a nice place where prisoners were treated well. They had kitchens to work in, that they fed them well, and they had, but all of it was a facade. And I think today that much of what we see in the media is a facade. It's a facade that we see people out there that, it's the pretty story, the pretty face, But in behind the scenes, there are horrible people who are devising horrible plans, and unfortunately, we don't get it. And so tonight I'm going to put together a video that includes this pre-monologue or whatever, and it's just going to be a video of pictures. I was going to take video through the site, but I just couldn't. It's static displays, and I just felt, I don't know what it was, but something told me video is not what it should be. So you'll see a bunch of pictures, and some of them will be self-explanatory. Others you may or may not. I'm not sure what I'm going to put up, but yeah. So that's all. I don't want to ramble on too much, but I'm really conflicted inside. I'm really conflicted over what is it going to take for the world to get it today. Thanks. If you have any comments, you can leave them on my vlog. You know, you're welcome to comment as to what you feel about this video and whether you visited Dachau or any of the other concentration camps, or you'd like to, or you know, maybe you have some insight. I don't know, because right now I am at a loss for words. Well, a lot of words to say that, but you know what I mean. Thanks.